Hey, I'm glad you're here. This is Seated Soul Rising. It's basically a place where we talk about how things have been, how things could be, and steps that we can take to move towards that. I'm Peter. I'm a businessman, an entrepreneur, a musician, and a coach. So basically, I study patterns for a living. I'm also a person in recovery, so I've had the chance to identify and work through a lot of patterns of my own. I get to work with all kinds of people. Some have had a ton of insight, some who are just starting to look under the hood. Today we're going to talk about relapse or slipping. Now, when I say relapse, most people think drugs, alcohol, sex. Relapse can actually relate to any behavior or coping mechanism that we think that we're done with, but keep falling back into. For you, this could look like eating 4 bags of chips on the weekend instead of 1, doom scrolling for 4 hours a night, binge watching 12 hours of cakes that look like my neighbor, not on purpose, yelling at your kids, disappearing from your life for days at a time without responding, telling yourself it's just because you're tired. Whatever it is, it's a bit of a cliche to say, but change has potholes. And until we're able to see them, we're going to keep falling back into the same ones. Now, my path involves a history with addiction. And that's the lens that I usually see patterns through. But honestly, the mechanics of falling back are the same. In my own slip work, I developed a tool called Second Rock Bottom Map. I'm going to walk you through an example of a slip in my life and how using the map helped me to get back on track without spiraling into guilt, shame, remorse, all the regular stuff that we do to ourselves unnecessarily. I didn't relapse because I was weak. I relapsed because I thought I was done with the work, and honestly, maybe just a little tired. I'd been sober about 4 years, and I'd worked really hard at developing stability in my life. I went to meetings, I had a good social network, I had people to talk to, journaling, counseling, and then I met a beautiful, incredible woman who's now my wife. You know how new relationships are. Pink, sparkly cloud, everything's exciting and beautiful and wonderful. And it was just more appealing to focus on that than to do my day-to-day stuff. So I had a maintenance fade. I let my guard down. I stopped doing the day-to-day things like I was supposed to, going to meetings, journaling, the things that were keeping me grounded every day. If you're in a slip right now, ask yourself, what did I stop doing that used to help? While all this was going on, I started wearing a performance mask. I was acting like everything was fine on the outside, but on the inside, I knew I could feel things sort of returning to the old behaviors and patterns. I wanted to hide this from myself as much as from my partner. Did you feel yourself slipping into that kind of internal isolation before your habit actually took over? There's always a lure to pull you back into your old ways. For me, the lure was comfort, familiarity. The devil that I knew was better than the devil that I was getting into. Not that there's anything wrong in the relationship. It's just that the stresses and the excitement and the uncertainty, it was different. It was new. And with any lure, the most important part is realizing that any behavior that you return to, whether it's painful or harmful or will lead you to feel bad about yourself, there's a payoff. There's always a payoff or we would never return to it. So figuring out what the payoff is the absolute key thing in understanding why you keep slipping back. And it's essential to long-term change. So how do we get back, once we've started to slip? We need a tether, an immediate action that pulls us back into the present truth. For me, this is always radical transparency, radical honesty. Looking at my situation, where am I? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? What is the payoff for me? What is going to be the suffering if I continue down this path? Having a map's great, but if we're not taking actual steps, it's just a map. Before I sign off today, I'd like to ask you, write down one thing, one action, one truth that can help lead you back to where you know you want to be. Or write down the name of one person that you need to reach out to, a person who can ground you and help you get back to where you are. Did you recognize your own version of the maintenance fade in your life today? If you did, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. I put the whole tool, the second rock bottom map, on my website. There's no email sign up, there's no wall, there's no gate. Just take it if you think it's going to help you. While you're down clicking on the link, if you'd like to hear more of this unpacking, love to have you hit subscribe. Next week, we're going to be building the action anchor. It's for when you know the pattern, but you keep doing it anyway. Thanks. See you then.